another wild week. Pro wrestling. We survived another week of this shit, folks. I mean, come on. Who's better than us? Nobody. And that little tune there, by the way, thank you, Suno. You have made me the maestro I never thought I could be. Really appreciate it. Because you know what? I want to expand this fucking thing. You know, I've been doing crappy, half-ass DIY podcasts, God, for 14 years on and off. I mean, I started doing this shit a long time ago. And, boy, things have changed. Now there's, OBS that I'm doing this on right now. And, it's like, if you don't have a video component, you're an idiot these days. So, of course, we jumped on that bandwagon and, it's crazy, but it's fun. I think I have more fun now doing this shit than ever before. And why is that, you say? Because of you motherfuckers. That's why. You guys make this so fun for me. I have a fucking blast doing these. I know I'm getting all bushy over here, but it's the truth. It's weird because when you do something for so long and you get very minimal feedback, like I literally did this show. Well, and originally this iteration of the show, I started with my wife. Those of you that don't know, if you go over to our audio only feeds, which I have neglected, and I definitely need to get on that and put these newer episodes on that feed. But if you go back in time on that, I mean, my wife and I were doing these for like 2 years with like 3 listeners, like literally, and 2 of those were our buddies, right? Like, so we did that for so long that you just get in that sort of like, oh, well, I'm doing it because I like it, right? Like, nobody probably cares, and you get all emo about it, right? And then lately, I just have found, I found my people between threads, between the dopest fucking group of all time. I found my tribe now, of fans that love this shit for the shit. You know what I mean? We're not here to try to argue online about whatever, we're just here to enjoy pro wrestling, man, and we have done that. And as I record this is a little weird version of the show. First off, I did say I was going to do a Japan review. I will be doing a Japan review, and I'm going to parlay that into a little bit of a Collision preview. And it works now that we know that Okada and Ishii will be going head-to-head for the Continental title. I almost said Continental Classic. I mean, I guess it is. But, we're fucking cooking with gas, folks. We're fucking getting it done. I mean, you're going to get 2 episodes of this pod in 1 week. And that's because I feel like a piece of shit that I have neglected this thing over the holidays. So my insecurity and my stupidity is giving you extra pod. So let's give myself a round of applause on that one. But let's get to business here. All right, let's get to business. And business is the debut of Penta, Cero Miedo. And holy shit, I'll say this. I think they did a fantastic job. I really, really do. I think Penta came out looking phenomenal. And a lot of people are going to think that that's crazy talk. And I understand that. I do. But I really, truly believe that they did as good as anyone could have done with old Penta. I really, really do. And I think that it's one of those things where, it wasn't going to make everyone happy. There's those of us in, the AEW sphere that were disappointed that Penta left. But I think we all understood it, right? He wasn't really being used. It feels like after the Death Triangle thing and Pac went to fucking Death Riders, that just sort of cemented the deal, kind of, for not only Penta, but obviously Phoenix is, sitting at home now, and, all the drama with that. But I'm a firm believer in wrestlers should wrestle. And I know that seems so stupid, but I do. I think that it's silly for these companies to, and I get it from a contractual standpoint, but I really hate that fucking, I'm going to hold you hostage. It just feels so fucking douchey. It feels like Kingpin from fucking Daredevil. Like, why? If a guy's not happy, let him go somewhere else. I'm a firm believer in that. That's one thing Eric Bischoff. Oh, hold on, folks. Let's get Eric Bischoff on here. What am I doing? We need a sad Eric Bischoff to really set this up. So let's do that. Let's get sad Eric on the fucking horn here. Let's see. Let's see Eric. Oh, poor Eric. Look at him. So sad. We're going to just have him be the whole fucking thing because this is great. Because I'm actually going to put him over for a second. The one thing Bischoff did that I agreed with was the famous meeting in 98 where he said, hey, listen, or 99, I think. I'm fucking hearing you guys aren't happy with shit. Well, all right. Guess what? You're not happy? Then get the fuck out. And you know what? They did. They fucking motherfucking left. I don't know what I just said. I sounded like Daffy Duck there. That was pretty bad, right? But we're going to roll on, folks. Yeah, old sad Eric had 1 point. And I agree with that, man. I really, truly do. If you're not fucking happy, then go somewhere else. I wish modern wrestling would be a little more of that. But either way, let's go back to Penta here. The man. I thought he had a great match with Chad Gable on Raw. I thought it was really good. Apparently he got heat because it went too long. Well, all right. Maybe you guys need to fucking be a bigger act so that you get a spot like Penta where he gets this big debut and shit. People were shitting on the theme. I get it is very like generic rock thing, but that's WWE's angle. I liked that they didn't fuck with his look too much. It was very traditional, in fact. They went back to the original, like, Pentagon Junior thing, which I like. I think that's good. I loved that look. With the ninja star sort of logo everywhere. I like that. And here's what I really loved about it. We got confirmation that AEW fucking matters. And here's what I mean. When he did his shit with the Cerro Miedo, there was a large reaction to that. And you wouldn't know what the fuck that is unless you watched AEW. The man was in AEW for 5 years. And I did love the little fucking Triple H deflection of having Michael Cole read all the accolades. He's former TNA world champion. He's a Lucha Underground. Like, let's make it a little less obvious that we don't give a fuck about everybody else. But we still don't. And by the way, folks, they don't. I just want to throw that out there. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. But, it's better than we had it with Vince in the sense that he would have just been like, look at this new superstar. Wow. And we would have just, fucking swept everything he ever did before WWE under the rug. So we got better than that. With that said, of course, time will tell, right? Time will tell if fucking this is going to be worth anything. I hope it is. I really hope it is. But, you never know. I think he has a great shot. And the reason that I think he has a great shot is because right now in WWE, they're in a weird flux, especially somewhere like WWE where, or Raw specifically too, they got this Netflix deal. They're really trying to make a push with that and get that into the mainstream. So yeah, I think it was a huge win for everybody involved. The only other thing of note for Raw was Gunther cut a promo that I don't remember, so that should tell you that that's not good. And then Damian Priest beating Finn Balor in a street fight that was way overbooked. I think it went like 10 more fucking minutes. There was a balcony Falcon Arrow spot that was insane. And yeah, they just basically no-sold it and went on. And, again, it is what it is. But fucking, it's just like, man, even shit that's good from WWE, they just gotta fuck it up these days. I don't get it. But, that's me, I guess. I don't know. I'm just a fucking goof, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's very mixed bag right now for old WWE Raw, in my opinion. But what do I know? The other little piece of business coming out of the WWE world is, of course, now let me pull him up here. Let's pull him up. Fucking yet again, we couldn't just have a fucking, a quiet week. We had to fucking get this guy talking shit. There he is. And I like it too that it just shows the browser and shit. That's great. I don't care. Nothing there you can't see. Old Ethan Page. He came out of the woodwork as he loves to do on these fucking AEW related things, and he said that AEW never. Well, let's open our energy drink here. We're getting deep in this motherfucker. That he never got a fair shot in AEW. That he never was able to break out. That he was just, viewed as a mid-card act at best. And that he could never get out of, that. And he went to WWE and they're already, doing him right. And he's been NXT champion and this and that, right? Well, Ethan, and this is what I hate. I loved Ethan Page. I loved his toy reviews. I love him as a person. I think he's a good guy. But the real discussion here is this Fed talk or is this Ethan talk? Because, I really don't know. I think part of it's definitely Ethan. I think he definitely made it very clear that he was not happy with, his usage. And I get it. I do. I absolutely understand it. But, is this the angle? Because let's remember, you did get a lot of opportunities. I mean, you had the angle with Darby. You had literally one of Sting's fucking premier matches with Scorp and Darby. You had the match with Kenny Omega. I believe didn't he have a world championship match with fucking MJF in his hometown? I don't think AEW missed the boat on you, bud. I think that something along the lines went down. And I think the issue with a lot of these new talents is they aren't as boisterous as they claim they are. I think Ethan thought that he was going to get it handed to him. I think he thought he was due. And I get that, but you can't think like that. Especially in a place like AEW. There's a million fucking people on that roster. And Ethan being like, well, I came to NXT and I mean, magically, it was like, well, no shit, dude. You're in the promotion with nothing but greenhorns for the most part. Of course you're going to stand out. You're the one that has a brain. You're the one that fucking has experience yet. Do you not get it? So, I loved Ethan Page, but this was just a stupid fucking comment, bud. This was really stupid. I don't think it did you any favors at all. But I had to mention it because it was very... Oh, and by the way, what did he do this week on NXT? He wrestled, I believe his name is Damian Chen, in a nothing match. And then he started an angle with Javon Evans where he had him bite a blood capsule and fake acted tough. So, Ethan, yeah, dude. You're doing way better over on NXT, bud. You're fucking knocking it out of the park. Although I would argue that you're an upper mid-carder in NXT right now at best. And again, I'm not trying to hate on the guy, but when you make fucking flagrant remarks like that, and I would like to believe that it's a Fed thing. Because I do notice between him and Jade Cargill, Cody's too smart. Cody knows, and Cody was an EVP, or whatever he was. I don't know if he was necessarily an MVP or EVP. Wasn't a fucking MVP, I'll tell you that. But he's smart. He never really makes much comment about AEW. He's just like, it was a great thing, great opportunity, blah, blah, blah. But with Jade and Ethan, they seem very similar. to be honest. They kind of are saying the same things of, I was underutilized. I didn't see what they had in me. It just seems very fetty to me. So I'm as much as I kind of shit on Ethan there a little bit, I really am not shitting on Ethan. I'm shitting on the idea that you magically went to the developmental brand and you're shocked that you're given a bigger push. Bro, you better have a bigger push or you weren't worth shit to begin with. So that's that. So that leads us to the fun shit. AEW Dynamite last night in Cincinnati, and I believe it was the Thomas Brady Music Center, which was a fucking awesome venue. I hope to God that they keep using this thing, even if it's just Collision or whatever, because I loved the venue. And everybody kind of said the same thing too, of it gave off some strong Hammerstein vibes, Cobb County Civic Center vibes as well with the railings and stuff. And I just loved it. I love those smaller, intimate buildings. I think Tony did the right thing starting us off this year with the smaller venues for specifically television because, AEW's shown that they can get a good house for a pay-per-view or a special event, but week in and week out, it's tough. I mean, look at WWE too, though. I mean, they don't run massive buildings every single fucking week. They have their moments, where they'll run like a fucking Knoxville or they'll run, a Little Rock where I was from, by the way. It's not a huge building. I mean, it's like a 10,000 or that most of the time they don't fill. So yeah. We start off hot with the best bout machine, Kenny, by God Omega, and he took on the Machine Brian Cage, and I loved this match. This was everything I wanted it to be, and I told people in the group that I was in that I've been waiting for this match for years, actually. When it was first announced, I was really about it. I was like, oh man, I liked Kenny Omega. I really liked Brian Cage at the time. And their styles mend to each other very well. And they did great shit here. I mean, Brian beat the fuck out of Kenny in a lot of this. Hit the diverticulitis on the man with diverticulitis. I like that little deal. And yeah, it looked like it was all over until, of course, Kenny Omega out of nowhere made his run, hit the fucking V-trigger, nailed the one-winged angel, get his first win back in AEW. But it wasn't over, of course. The Don Callis family started whooping that ass. Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer run out. They start whooping on him. Really, really good. And, of course, Willard, by God Ospreay, came out for the save. We got more dissension here, too. This week, it was more obvious. And then, of course, Takeshita showed up to even the odds. And we got a badass brainbuster spinning Falcon Arrow combo by him and Fletcher on Ospreay and Omega. And I was shocked in only one way. I thought this was a clear setup for the Bucks. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Bucks didn't show, though. So we're going to get some interesting developments going on in the future. And I think it's a very good thing for AEW going forward, especially when we get into what happened on the show later that wasn't so great. Okay? Not everything in the show was beautiful necessarily. Speaking of that, Chris Jericho did a New York Minute. That's all there is to say about that. We got Ricochet in ring getting so much heat he could not do his promo. And he looked like a fucking psychopath. He literally looked like Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. I love the look. It makes him look fucking weird. And it didn't take long for Swerve's music to hit. And we're like, wow, here comes Swerve. Nah, it was Nana from behind with the chair. Then Swerve came out with the signature chain around his neck. And he was about to whoop on that ass. But of course, Ricochet, one step ahead because he's a piece of shit, rolls out of the ring and runs away. This is going to be a phenomenal feud. This already has a lot of heat. These two guys can fucking work. Ricochet developing this new creepy sort of heel character. I'm all about it. This is all good for me. And Swerve just yet again showing that he truly is perhaps the most over man in AEW. He's definitely top 3, and he's cemented himself as a top guy in AEW. And it's a beautiful thing to see because, you know, when you think about where this guy came from, it's just neat to, you know, be reminded. You know, I know at this point he's been a top guy for a little bit, but, you know, it's always good to see guys like that. Fuck, I saw him in a shitty bar in Gainesville, Florida, you know? So it's really cool that he has remained so over. So that's that. We got a Mercedes Moné mini documentary, which I loved because they kept it pretty kayfabe. And, you know, we need more of this because this is how you keep people in the zeitgeist, so to speak. And they don't have to wrestle. They don't have to cut a promo. Just make people aware that there are other people on your roster. I think that's maybe AEW's biggest weakness is a lot of people online shit on it. Well, they don't use their talent. Well, they are right, but it's also like, I don't think you realize who their talent is. So put that out there. And I thought this was really good. And in fact, overall on this show, I think they used the vignettes way better of just utilize these people in some form. Mark Briscoe and the World Tag Team Champions Private Party went up against the Hurt Syndicate. Yes, all 3 of them. MVP dusted himself off and showed up. And this was a fun match. It was what you expected. You know, MVP looked much better than I expected to. He's kept training. He obviously did Bloodsport with Josh Barnett not too long ago. So good on him. I definitely don't want him in the ring all the time. I like it being like this sort of thing. Like, oh, if it's a trio situation, he can jump in. Even then, I keep saying, give us some more guys for Hurt Syndicate. Give us some more girls, too. I'm all for the Mercedes joining thing, too, or anybody. I do think Hurt Syndicate's gotta expand, you know, whether it's, you know, have a lackey like Max Caster or have a budding star like Anthony Bowens or a fucking murderous psychopath like Ricochet. I think Hurt Syndicate has room to grow here, and I'm very excited for that. Old Shelton got the win here with the thrust kick on Quinn, and really a cementing that they are absolutely the number 1 contenders for the tag titles. They're coming for those titles. It's just when we see it at this point. And then we get the announcement, and I'm very excited about this. And I don't know if this isn't the first time ever. The Rated R Superstar Cope next week going up against 1/3 of the Trios champs, the Bastard Pack. That will go hard. And here's where things got slippery. Jeff Jarrett came to the ring. And, oh, God. I will say this before anyone says it before or after. I am very biased against Jeff Jarrett. I have never understood the Jeff Jarrett thing. I think he's a fucking goof. I think he was very fortunate to have very famous people in not only his family, but around him that cared about him, that propped him up for many, many years. I also think he was very fortunate in a lot of instances to be the guy that's standing there for the push, i.e. WCW 2000. I think horribly overrated. I think he's also a fucking snake oil salesman. He's proven that 1.5 million times. So to say that I am not excited for this little like fucking last run angle he's doing would be an understatement. But also, I love MJF. And I feel like MJF is at the point where he could probably make anything work. This is a long task, though. This is a hard one to me. I don't know what the payoff is. I mean, what's the payoff? The old man wins the world title? I don't like that payoff. And in a great world, what's the other payoff that maybe works is, okay, MJF does the same exact angle he just did with Adam Cole with an old man? Because that's what this is, by the way. MJF offering a hand to Jeff Jarrett. Let us recall, That is how this started with Adam Cole and MJF. Well, first it started with the odd couple fucking tag team tournament thing they did, but when they won it, as time went on, they started to like each other. They had the tag title match, they lost, and then they started being buddies. I don't want that. MJF's a top guy. Why he is not working guys like fucking Jesus. Cope would be a great one, to be honest. I don't understand. He needs to be a main event player. At least he needs to be an upper mid-card player. And working with Jarrett here doesn't feel like that. And they did the old school fucking back and forth promo thing. And they went after each other's moms. And they went after each other's wives and rats. And it just felt very dated. And definitely a lot of people that I know were legitimately offended about just like, wow, so women are getting pissed on here for two guys. One guy's an old geriatric motherfucker. The other guy is like getting just fucking drug into this mire for what? It was very bizarre. There were a couple lines that, I mean, I laughed at because I'm an immature jerk, but then we got into the Owen shit, you know, between the women shit and just your buddy Owen, and he should be, brother, you know, I'm an old fan. I remember that stuff. It just came off very, very shitty. And then when you realize that it went like 10 fucking minutes, and it cut into not only the match that was oddly promoted before really any of them for this show, the next match, which was Christian Cage and Hook, that felt very disjointed and bizarre. And it just, it was a bad one. It was not a good angle with Jeff and old MJF. I was not a fan of it. That leads us to the aforementioned match, Christian Cage and Hook. It was okay, you know. It's a weird thing, this whole Christian Hook thing. I get it, you know, the Taz thing, and this was Taz's first show back, by the way, so there's a point where Christian's got the cavalry coming in to help him, and you know, he like stands up as if he's gonna get in the ring, and then everything got awesome because as Christian Cage and the Patriarchy are whooping on that ass, oh, Shibata came out too and got killed. So you're like, this is over. Like, who's going to come help? Motherfucking Samoa Joe is going to come help. And I lost my mind. I mean, anyone that knows this show long enough knows I love fucking Samoa Joe. He is literally my top guy. So it was beautiful to see Joe back. I have officially coined Shibata, Joe, and Hook as the proto-conglomeration. Because if everyone remembers, that was kind of their whole thing, was they were like three odd people that don't go together at first. So I'm happy. Samoa Joe coming in. Samoa Joe and Christian Cage, I'll watch that any day. I think that has legs. So again, another guy coming into AEW. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He was fine. He was filming Twisted Metal, but still, good thing to see. We got more Jeff Jarrett bullshit here. And then we got Dustin Rhodes, another guy that I'm sorry can go the fuck home as well. And then we had the Women's Casino Gauntlet. And I will say this, I thought it was really good. And I thought it was really fun. And having Mariah May on commentary, like scouting these women and being so bitchy was great. Of course, Chris Statlander started at number 1. We got Jamie Hayter at number 2. So that was awesome. That little singles situation that happened. And then number 3... finally debuting on TV, Megan Bayne. And if you don't know who Megan Bayne is, I implore you to go online, look up her Stardom shit, but really look up her latest GCW shit. She's been beating up every guy in GCW for like a year and a half. She's a badass. And boy, was she here. She threw these women around like nothing. She towered over Statlander, which Statlander's been sort of, positioned as the powerhouse of the women's division. So I'm very excited for that one-on-one that's sure to come. Julia Hart comes in at 4th, and it's like, ooh, what are you going to do in this situation? She goes after Hayter because, I mean, I'm not fucking with Megan Bayne either. Next was Willow Nightingale. We got a lot of nice multi-women fucking shit here. Megan and Willow paired off. That's another one. This match felt like Megan Bayne getting her future fucking TV matches. You know what I mean? And then Tony Storm, the rookie, showed up and started just going to town on everybody. Harley Cameron comes out a little later, and it's a whirling dervish at one point. Jamie Hayter comes in. She's getting a huge comeback going. Julia hits the mist on Harley. There's confusion. And in that confusion, the rookie, Tony Storm, rolls up Julia for the small package to win the gauntlet. She is going to her home country of Australia to challenge Mariah May for the world championship. I gave you the good. Now I'll give you the bad. Literally, it had to be straight from the MJF Jarrett thing. This match was not even 15 minutes long. And it just, you only had 5 or 6 women that came out. It definitely felt like a here you go instead of this exciting focus of the women. And I'm very bummed out by that. I'll be honest, I delusionally thought this was going to be the main event. I really did, even with Moxley and Powerhouse for the world title, because there's so many women on this roster. You could have made this thing so good. You could have had 20 women in this motherfucker at one point. And I think it could have worked. I did see where people, and I agree with this, hey, it's the first one. Maybe this is the trial. But either way, you promoted it so much for that. For a 13-plus minute match with multi-women. So really nobody there were women here that didn't really get much. Like Harley didn't get a lot. I don't think Julia got necessarily a whole lot either. Willow was just sort of there. There was a lot of weirdness in this. And it was good. And it was fun. And the women in it were entertaining. But 13-plus minutes, man. Come on. For a gauntlet match? I didn't like it. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world. I hope that the groundswell of criticism gets to TK, and I hope he sees and learns, wow, the women draw. The women, people really want to see the women. And I think those of us that have been around this company from the beginning, we've been screaming it, man. Going all the way back to the Nyla Rose Rio days. Give us more women. We know that they're talents. We know they can perform, and they need a spotlight. They need a platform. And I have seen people say, well, maybe they make another show and it's all women. It doesn't need to be that. Just focus. Have a better plan long term. I think the problem with AEW, it seems very clear to me, Tony Khan just sort of goes by the seat of his pants, and that's fun. But you need some structure too. And the women seem to be the people of the roster that get fucked the worst by this. So I hope that they do better. I'm very excited for Megan Bayne being in AEW. Obviously, I love the Julia Hart, Jamie Hayter thing. Nothing out of that is bad. I just give these women something, man. They deserve it. They really have busted their asses. And that leads us to the main event. AEW World Title, Jon Moxley in his hometown against Powerhouse Hobbs. Marina is a warrior for walking through the snow and just a fucking wife beater. Holy fucking shit, that looked miserable. My fucking thin-blooded fucking Florida living ass. That lost me. I was like, oh God. So, Jon Moxley, Powerhouse Hobbs. This was great. This was a fun match. This reminded me a lot, in a good way, of Flair and Luger. Whereas what I mean is, Powerhouse obviously in the Luger position, and Moxley really sort of bumped around him and sort of took his shit. He, the whole thing of this match was Moxley trying to find a way through most of this, and the ref distractions and the fuckery. That's what kept Moxley alive in this thing, because at one point, Powerhouse just rips his fucking earring out. That was brutal. So he's bleeding out of the side of his ear, horribly. And you're thinking, dude, Hobbs is going to get this thing done tonight. hits the world's most dangerous slam, almost gets the fucking 3 here. And then it's like Yuta comes out. He's a little piece of shit. Starts beating up Hobbs' knee. But, Hobbs will not go down until, of course, Shafir nails him with the briefcase with the title in it, or we think the title's in it. So Moxley hits the paradigm shift, puts on the Bulldog choke. No tap. He just goes out. Powerhouse looks like a superstar. He's made. I think this is good. And then we got more fuckery. The fucking Death Riders are about to pounce. They're whooping on that ass. Out comes Rated FTR. I don't know if I'm as excited for this Cope Mox thing that they're building. I don't know. I don't hate it, but I don't know. It feels very okay to me. I'm not like, ooh, man, I got to see this match. I'm like, okay. And even knowing that it's the first ever meeting, it would be the first time they've ever wrestled each other one-on-one, I still am just kind of like, I mean, okay. I mean, I'd kind of rather have Moxley and Swerve. I'd kind of rather have Moxley and Jay White one-on-one. There's a lot more. Him and Hangman that you just built up for, what, a month and a half? I appreciate AEW getting so many people over and getting so many people in the mix. But I don't know if this is the answer. And by no means is this the end of the world. It's not. I love AEW. I will be watching Collision with bated breath, trust me. And you will know that when I do my preview along with the Japan review. And again, that will be Saturday afternoon before the show. And as usual, go on the socials. I'm at Troubles Wrestling Pod over on Threads. I believe I'm Troubles Weekly over on Blue Sky. You'll find me. Troubles Weekly. I'm everywhere, man. So that was Dynamite. It was very much a mixed bag. Maybe more than usual. I will say the weaker of the first 3 Max shows. But that's not like the worst thing ever. It was still a really fun show. There was a lot on the bone, and the future of AEW looks very bright with a few clouds here and there. But that's okay. That seems to be par for the course in the wrestling business. That seems to be just how it goes. And, you work to be better. You work to do better. And I'm excited. I'm excited for Collision. I'm excited for AEW. I'm excited for the business. So with that, we're done this week. Until next time, go fucking watch some badass wrestling and enjoy it. Don't bitch about it. Don't troll somebody about it. Just love it for the love of the game.